Hi there, everybody. It's Fred Thomas, and you are watching Rideable TV, the home of 80 bikes, frame and wheel, and all things bike. And our guest today on the 80 Bikes playlist is Tom Caldwell, a member of the greatest 80 bikes generation. Tom was riding and racing his AD in New England and Florida, at the Nationals and in Canada in the mid 70s, long before I was racing age. And he was right there, turning up at all the races that included all the first men of U.S. professional cycling, including Andrew Weaver, other legends like Steve Pyle, and maybe even Davis Finney, who was on an AD back then too. Anyway, we've got Tom talking to us today. We're going to add him to the stream. There he is. Hi, Tom. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
That's great. I know. Well, we got you live streaming. And so just tell us your connection to the AD brand. Give us some of the background of how you ended up on one of those bikes.
It's an indirect approach. I started out as an intermediate back early 70s. And, as a kid like that, hanging out in bike shops. Mm-hmm. And I met a gentleman, actually worked in the bike shop, named Toby Fleming. And Toby said, hey, why don't you come out and ride with us once in a while? And he was a junior, a little older than I was, but I would tag along and whatnot. And this was late summer, early fall. And he said, would you ever have any interest in racing? Mm-hmm. And at that point, I said, sure, but I'm on a bike that just doesn't fit me. Mm-hmm. I think I was maybe 5'6" at the time and probably on a 55 centimeter, square bike. Back in the day, not the Richard Sachs, it's there, but
that was your B bike.
Yeah. So
he had one lying around, and he just got you right on it. Is that it?
Well, what happened was he said, "Why don't you?" He called me one day and said, "There's some citizen races if you're interested down at our local high school." So I rode from home, it was like 15 miles to get down there. Mm-hmm. I tore it up, and it was like very satisfying.
Yeah.
And I felt guilty that I had, really kind of done so well, but it was also gratifying. And after that, he said, well, would you be interested in joining? At that point, Austro-Daimler wasn't a presence. Mm-hmm. We were sponsored by a bike shop out of Greenwich, Connecticut, and the name of the team was Citius, C-I-T-I-U-S.
Oh, yeah.
Cycle. And we had these beautiful green, lime green and yellow and black jerseys, and they were nice. So several of us were on Citius. Mm-hmm. Steve Pyle at that point. He was the most notable. Toby Fleming, myself, and I was a first year. I was an intermediate, I think, at the end when I got my jersey.
Right.
And I was still on my bike that was too big. And the first race that I was ever in was a 10-mile time trial in Princeton, New Jersey, right about this time of the year. And here I am, on a 24-pound road bike. And these guys, they're on track bikes.
Right.
They're riding a fixed gear track bike. And, as an intermediate, I can remember a guy, Austin Ehrlichman, rode for CRC of A. He won the thing. Mm-hmm. And, at a time of like 24 minutes. I came in dead last.
You got to start somewhere. Come on, that's good.
Yeah, it's too bad because this was a team event, mm-hmm. And I could have had I placed better. As a team, we could have won because I think Steve Pyle got second behind
Yeah.
Austin in that race.
Yeah.
And there were three other guys I think that were with us, and it was a quiet ride home. But
Oh,
it kind of woke me up as like, well, I guess training is a real thing. I better start to do something.
oh gosh. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's great. So that really got you onto the path of
That got me motivated.
racing. Yeah.
That it was something that, it was a challenge. It was a purpose.
Yeah.
As you know, bike riding is an escape.
Yeah.
It's many things, and I went kind of head over heels with it. I really, enjoyed it.
Well, then the Sidious guys, I mean, Austro-Daimler in the day, they had their corporate office in Greenwich, Connecticut, and so there must have been a lot of bikes flying around. And do you remember which one you ended up on? Was it red?
I didn't actually get an AD bike. I was like second string.
Ah, okay.
I rode Richie Sachs that you see there, and I had a Guercioti.
Ah, I get it.
Both those bikes were great. And I really didn't start to produce probably until I was a first year senior.
Right.
And at that point, I was so comfortable on my own bike.
Yeah.
I probably could have, asked for one. But the reality was, the AD bikes those guys were riding initially were nothing. They
were too flexible. Apparently, they were no one was. Well, yeah, everyone had agreed that the Ultima was very flexible. Apparently.
Well, yeah, I mean they had to ride it, but they all had their Colnagos and Chinellis and stuff that they rode during the week and trained on and whatnot, and then they got on the AD,
when they were riding Connecticut
on the weekends. So that's that was the initial. I'm sure they came up with the bikes a little bit, and they're probably better steel frame towards the end.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, the brand has come a long way from there. That's for sure. But we'll look at describe what it was like to race as a junior.
It was
70s.
Awesome. Every weekend was a new experience. I got to travel. I traveled almost exclusively with Steve Pyle. He and I went to races a lot together, especially where
this is in New England
type thing. So I'd pick him up, and we'd go to races.
Right.
And I learned a lot just by being near him in that respect. I had nowhere near the talent he had, but I could see what he put in to make to make it work. And riding as a junior though was an awesome experience. I mean, I came out of an intermediate. It was I couldn't have gone any lower, and the guy that drove us to Princeton for the time trial, we ended up staying in Louisville at his house for the Nationals, and I think he was a little surprised to see me show up. I qualified through the states and made it to the Nationals, and I was proud. I was psyched. I mean, I wasn't a game player, but I had definitely improved. And I enjoyed it. It was still a challenge.
And where did you do your training? During this time, were you training in New England as well as Florida, or?
Yeah, I went to high school in Florida. So basically, from August, I think school started in August there, up to I think we got out like the second week in May. And then I would fly back to my mom's house in Ridgefield, Connecticut, and pick up the racing season there. All except, and that was through my junior years.
Yeah.
And then as a senior, I graduated high school purposefully early
Hmm.
so that I could stay down there and train. But we lived in the near Apopka, Florida. It's in the central part of the state, Winter Park area.
Yeah, right, sure.
We rented, Steve Pyle and I rented an apartment there, and I, went up and met him, and there was a couple guys that rode for AD. Older guys came down with their cars, and they were basically, it was like a little training camp down
Yeah, you're ahead of your time.
I don't know about that, but it was, I mean, we were sleeping, on mattresses on the floor.
Yeah.
It was like a month to month. We had this place for like 2 months to rent, but
Great.
we were able to ride with like the likes of Tom Dowdy, and other national team riders that would hole up down there, late winter, early spring.
Yeah.
And we basically ride together. And how could you not improve?
Wow, that's
And we ended up, following races up the East Coast. And then I ended up back in Connecticut, I'm going to say middle of May.
mhm.
I was about out of money at that point, and, my savings, but it was, and there were races going on then, but of course you had the Central Park Training Series, which was a big thing.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so, and here we started, the whole circuit of racing up here.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of racing. How about this?
Fred, I can't hear you. You're frozen.
How was? Okay, we're back.
Okay.
A brief intermission. Yes. Yeah, I mean, how was the brand perceived?
Well, we went from, City of Cycle being a sponsor. We almost had Wayless. Wayless was a equipment manufacturer. They made rollers and they made hubs and different, like high-tech components. And they were going to be our sponsor instead of AD. And I think, something happened.
Yeah.
AD became the sponsor. And the next thing I knew was we had a nice new van with, AD stickers all over it. We had AD kits they sent us.
Right.
They would, pay for our lodging, our some of the meals, some of our overhead to get there. Basically, this was an advertising thing, for them, for us to be out there. But so they helped. I'm sure that the better riders got more, but it all worked out. It was a great experience. AD was they were looked up to because they had Steve Pyle. Once they got Andy Weaver, then a lot of people jumped.
Right.
They could get who they wanted. And I was out of it. There were good riders in AD when I left, but after I left, there were even better ones.
Yeah, no, there's a famous. Well, I mean, you were at the start, so you get credit for that.
That's right.
You were
Right.
in, but yeah, I know. I remember the brand. I desperately wanted to have the jersey that you had, and I knew that there was a professional feel to the brand, and I desperately wanted to be on that team, whatever it was, even though it may have been way ahead of my time, or it may have already disbanded by the time I was thinking about it. That's what my earliest recollection of the brand is. But then tell us how you came across the restored brand, and how you heard about the restoration of AD and how you ended up getting a modern version of the bike that was.
Well, I was just, inquiring, I had no idea that it was still alive.
Yeah, well,
And, I knew that, AD itself had passed. I'd done a little research,
yeah,
and AD as I knew it.
yeah,
And them to, come to find that basically you had resurrected it, was pretty cool to find out.
yeah.
That's an old guy.
Yeah, no, you're looking good. No, I mean, I wanted to race the brand of bike that I raced when I was a youth. I mean, it was my first racing bike, and I had these sort of, this unfulfilled connection to it. I never anticipated doing it, but it's pleasing to know that you reconnected to it in the same way. But I mean, I guess I did a good video or something, or
Well, you feel so to draw.
yeah,
Once you're on the team, it's I'm sure it just felt comfortable.
yeah, it is an emotional thing. I've always it
That's
is
a good word for it.
it's
Yeah.
an emotional connection to the brand that I have, and I can't believe that I'm in a position to actually bring it into the 21st century, on the bike like you have, and the time trial bike that's behind me, and the cross bike that's hanging from the wall there. But so I mean, I've been trying to innovate the whole process of how we buy and sell our bikes and all that, and it's a long road, but you are again among the first to make the connection of how you can get an AD frame built up exactly the way you like it, and in the process get all the stuff that's hanging around in the basement, the old trainers and components,
Right.
sold as part of the whole thing. You talk about how that worked out for you.
Well, I had components. I think they were 10-speed components that I knew going forward weren't going to, present me with anything. I had several saddles
Yeah,
that I had been through, some bars that were too wide,
yeah,
whatnot, and it was good to be able to basically, recycle those
yeah,
and use them, in this case.
yeah.
So I think that, you know,
That's great. I mean,
holding for something, something that was up to speed, more,
yeah,
what I was looking for was, it was a good opportunity.
yeah,
And just to know that maybe somebody else could use those, other parts is good to know.
yeah, yeah. They found a home.
Good.
Those parts found a home, and then you ended up on a super light ISP, integrated seat post version, which I don't know, I can't remember how much it actually weighed in the end, but it was definitely weighing less than
17.4.
17,
Yeah.
17 pound 4 ounces.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's quite a bit lighter than what you were racing and riding
By
in
far.
70s. Yeah, but it has the spirit of the original, so that's great.
Right.
And so tell us what kind of riding are you doing now? I mean, it's been hard to ride and lately.
I've been on the trainer.
Mhm.
Work kind of kept me off of it. I ended up, I had being off the bike for 40 years, it's a total rebuild.
Yeah,
And, it's a little mentally frustrating, but again, the experience of riding, presents many things. And for me, it lets me get out and think, and it lets me challenge myself. And
yeah,
hey, at my age, if I can be healthier through something I like, I think that's positive. Um, I think I ended up with right around 4,000 miles last year, which for me was pretty good. Now, but mind you, I have records that
Yeah, books, little books, right? With your right.
Exactly, every day. But anyway, my last junior year,
Uh-huh.
I had almost 11,000 miles.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah, I
It,
mean, I don't think I've ever done that in a year.
it was probably overtraining, but I mean, that's races included. But, so I was happy with 4,000 miles
Yeah.
last year. Now, I pretty much had to put the bike away in September, except a few rides. So
Mhm.
I probably could have gotten another 1,500 miles in, but work just kept me from it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm back on the trainer at this point, and matter of fact, I got two 35 plus mile rides in this week outside. Uh,
Yes, it's been a
Even
while.
amongst the weather, but so that's a good feeling.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, you've got the momentum, you've got a plan, you've got a bike that inspires you, and the weather will cooperate.
It'll get better.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, the trainer is, yeah, I mean, the trainer is the trainer, but it counts. You pedal.
It's
And
come a long way from the rollers I used to ride.
I mean, I mean, I remember being on rollers, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the only thing, and you must have spent your, plenty
Uh,
of rollers too. But
yeah, oh, yeah. I so happy I don't have to, you know.
I know. Well, exactly. I mean, it might be good for your bike handling, but that's all right. Zwift and Strava and
Yeah,
Netflix, those are pretty good
exactly.
innovations. Wow. All righty, Tom. Well, that's great to hear to hear your perspective on racing in the 70s and 80s and your connection to the brand, past and present and future.
Yes.
Um, you're part of the team. That's right. No one ever leaves the AD racing team. There's a place for you on the team. If you are inspired to race this year, we've got a team. All you have to do is just get your USA cycling license.
Hmm.
You got the bike, you got the jersey, or you can you can suit up anytime on Verge Sport, and you just Masters cycling goes to 85 plus. So
Yeah, there you go.
yeah,
uh,
that's great. Well, that's great. Well, thanks again, and
it's been a pleasure.
yeah, right on, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you, Fred.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon. All right, everybody, that was Tom Caldwell. And if you used to ride an AD back in the 70s and 80s and you're interested in doing it again like Tom and like me, it's very easy to do that. You just go to the website, adbikes.com, and you'll see the frames there, and reach out to me on Facebook or social media or on the phone, email, and let me know what you're after, and we'll work it out and make it happen. Thanks so much for watching. That's all we got for now. We will talk to you again.